How would you describe your role as a public information officer or PIO?
The role of the Public Information Officer, or PIO, is a very critical one for most agencies. You need to be able to disseminate information from the agency to the general public. Ways you can do that are working very well with the agency, knowing how it works, the insides, how they function, their capabilities, to be able to effectively communicate how that agency is involved in that community. Ways you can do that are coverages of incidents. So, on a structure fire or a large EMS incident, being able to comment on factors of the accident or the incident to where you steer the public to where they're not going to really pry for more information, but you're going to give them the facts and maybe even some like safety announcements.
Why is the PIO role helpful for an emergency medical service agency?
It's helpful because it allows the agency to effectively communicate to the general public. Being said, with social media and different other sources of media outlets, there anybody can go and put information out on the internet or in the newspapers. And coming from the PIO, you can state the facts of the incident, facts about the department without interpretation of the general public and hearsay.
How would you describe your policy for handling media requests?
All requests come through the PIO. Most written will be handled by the PIO with oversight by the fire chief. Again, the PIO is going to work with the agency as they get certain requests for what kind of trainings are we working on. The PIO will go probably work with the training officer to formulate a response to the community. What information should be released and what information should not be released. In most instances, like with press conferences or web chats, typically we will have legal involved, not on camera, but as a resource, just to make sure that the things that the PIO are saying are accurate and non-liable.
What types of information and details can you share with the community?
There's a lot of information that you can share with the community. One of the biggest ones are the capabilities of the agency itself. So here at New Jasper Township Fire, we could communicate to the public the number of members we have, our level of training, our capabilities, types of equipment we have. We could even talk about different types of calls we might respond to. Safety programs such as like elderly falls in the home, smoke detector programs, CO detector programs.
What types of information are considered confidential and cannot be shared, and why?
Many of the popular items were probably things that affect medical care. With that, we now fall under HIPAA, which is the Accountability Act that protects protected health information. So, one of the biggest ones are vehicle accidents. A lot of people want information about the drivers or the people involved, and we're not able to release that. We typically work with other agencies such as law enforcement before we can release some of that information. Those would be more sensitive and protected versus maybe a structure fire. We would be able to say we had it at this address or this block. One, so people can maybe avoid that intersection if they're driving through town. Or if it's a larger incident for a multi day incident, we might be able to keep people away from the incident by advertising.
What recommendations do you have for journalists working with PIOs?
Working with journalism and PIO, they go hand in hand. They really need to set up like a liaison relationship to where they benefit each other and they're synergistic. Being a transparent agency allows journalists free access to come to the PIO to get the correct information, and the PIO can establish that they are giving correct information. By ignoring journalists or not giving them some of the answers to their questions, may allow them to fabricate answers or interpret on their own, and then you're going to be in a damage control situation because you're trying to counter misinformation with actual valid, correct information. All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.